Rabbani Charitable Trust. I think people need to be made aware of this, and it may put some things in light as to some of the more fundamental extremism that's going on, religious extremism that's going on in Iran. And hear me out, because this is a very benign religion that is behind this Rabbani Charitable Trust. It was established by Dr. Rabbani about 20 years ago, 1991, January 1991. It is a very loving and charitable organization that has set goals. I'm familiar with this organization, not in an intimate level, but people I work with have been involved with it for 20 years or more. And it's established, basically they'll have meetings various places in the world, but it's mainly established in Orlando, Florida. It has specific purposes. The trust agreement, which became effective on January 25th, 1991, for trust distributions, are homes for the aged and needy, archives of Bahá'í books, that's religion, documents, and other materials, schools, Bahá'í conferences, medical clinics, dental clinics, mental health clinics, medical research centers, hospitals, for the relief and benefit of the disabled or unemployed persons residing in the United States or anywhere in the world. It's actually a very, very charitable, benign, loving organization. They do not adhere to any very, very strict traditional religious laws, but they are very religious in a true sense. What they are is actually members of the Bahá'í Faith, and this was established by Dr. Rabbani. Dr. Rabbani, 20 years ago, upon his death, this trust was established, and I know who manages this trust. He's a very, very good person, and but I do want to point out a little bit about this religion, that they see there's not many of them in the world, and you can see that the seat of the Universal House of Justice governing the body of the Bahá'ís is in Haifa, Israel. Now, that is something interesting, because this religion was actually founded in 19th century Persia. Now, this is how they differentiate between the fundamental Islamic, very strict Islamic law. They emphasize the spiritual unity of all humankind. All humankind. In other words, this is something that goes on in the United States today. In the United States today, there's a lot of people that are kind of rejecting traditional religion, right? They are rejecting traditional religion, but they believe in, either if they don't believe in Jesus, they believe in some kind of goodness and unity of humankind, all working together, and there shouldn't be any kind of hate in the world and everything like that. That is basically what this religion is about. It emphasizes the spiritual unity of all humankind. They were founded in 19th century Persia, Iran. I know Iranians are Persians, okay? They're not Arabs, they're Persians. This is where this was founded, in Iran. I'm going to emphasize something else after this so we get a little clearer picture. This is a very good organization, and I know the people that manage this organization financially, and they're very, very good people too, even though they're not members of this faith. The messengers have included, in other words, they say that with established religion, it came about at different times in different areas of the world, and it was suited to the needs of the time and capability of the people. In other words, there were various messengers, various religious groups that came about as basically God revealing Himself to mankind what the actual truth is. So in other words, these messengers included Abraham, Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad, and others. So they do not follow strict Islamic law. Persecution. The persecution of Bahá'ís was actually the religious persecution of Bahá'ís in various countries, especially persecuted in Iran. Now, this is not to knock the Iranian people, but the clerics and some of the more radical, I'll call them radical because I think they will push their religion on people, and it actually, some people interpret the Quran in different ways, that, you know, either you take the religion that in the ways that they have, or you are an infidel, and basically you're done. They will go that extreme. But the persecution stemmed from a variety of Bahá'í teachings. In other words, all-encompassing spirituality of mankind, like all religions are basically seeking the truth. They were inconsistent with traditional Muslim belief, including the finality of Muhammad's prophethood, which means the finality of Muhammad's prophethood means that Islam is basically going to take over the world. So, I mean, you could say it's otherwise, but that's the way I read it. So they see him as apostates from Islam, according to some. So they either have to repent or die. So these are the type of people that were thrown out of Iran. Not even interestingly, even though the Shah was a bad guy in many respects, he didn't screw around. He didn't do things bad against these people. It was the people that came in after the Shah that persecuted these people, which is quite interesting too. It's like everything seems to have a twist to everything. I know the Shah persecuted a lot of people, but he didn't persecute these particular people. And these were people that were emphasizing the spiritual humanity of all humankind. They didn't really, they considered all these religions good, and they all have this commonality. So, the Rabbani Charitable Trust was created by the Rabbanis as a fitting legacy for their spiritual work. Dr. Rabbani, as a pharmacist by profession, and his wife, Mrs. Rabbani, a businesswoman, were both born in Iran. We're third generation Bahá'ís. So he does his work is continuing today. It's being managed down in Central Florida here near Orlando, and this organization does a lot of good. It does do a lot of good. They're Iranian organization. They have meetings every year. They'll have a trust meeting in various places of the world. They'll accept donations, but since they don't conform to the strict fundamentalist Islamic law, they're not welcome in Iran. They were persecuted, and you can look this up. I will. The reason this came to mind is because I don't deal with this organization that much, but I am very familiar with it, and it's been managed here by somebody I know for the last in Florida for the last 20 years. So the work of the Rabbanis is being carried of Dr. Rabbani is being carried out each year. So, but I can't say any more about this too much because I think it gets a little too controversial no matter what you say. But it's true that this religion actually has its universal house of justice that governs the body of this religion in Haifa, Israel. It's like they can't be in Iran because they are such a loving, all-encompassing religion that accepts all faiths with this truth of, spirituality of all mankind, that the fundamentalist Islamic clerics reject them in Iran. It's interesting that the Shah actually treated these people better. So, I mean, I kind of maybe balances some things out, but I would like to highlight the Rabbani Trust. I think it's a very good organization. It's called the Rabbani Charitable Trust, and you can, make donations or go to their meetings or get involved if you want to, or discover a little bit more about the faith, because some people seem to be rejecting a lot of religions today, but this particular faith does encompass many aspects of all religions throughout the world.